Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through some of the problems on the factoring review. Okay, so let's start with number one. I want to see, whenever I'm factoring, I always want to see if there's something I can get out of everything first, which both of these we can get a 7 and an x out of both of those. So when we factor that 7x out, we are left with just an x here, right? Those x's cancel out. 35 divided by 7 is 5, and that is all we can factor out of that one. Okay, this one over here we can get a what looks like a 2 and an x out of both of these. So we get 2x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. One of the x's cancel out on the top. 4x, and then over here 18 divided by 2 is 9. There's nothing left we can factor out of that, so that is completely factored. And then we got 5x squared minus 30x. We can get a 5 and an x out of both of these, right? 5x, divide those out, we're just left with an x. Those x's cancel. Negative 30 over 5 is minus 6. Okay? Continuing on, taking a look at number 7 here. Now we're factoring trinomials, all with, like, we've got x squared and x and a constant here. So I like to think of this as the backwards technique. I'm going to come up with the factors of 14. Oops. Factors of 14, 1 times 14, or 2 times 7. Which of those have a difference of 5? Factors of 14 that have a difference of 5. 2 and 7 have a difference of 5, so we factor this thing out. We're going to get x times x to get x squared. Our two factors are 2 and 7. And I know that whatever sign is in front of the x here, this first sign, is always going to go with the bigger of the two, right? So positive 7 and negative 2 give us positive 5. And then negative 2 times positive 7 gives us negative 14. And that is that one factored. Same idea here, factors of 16, 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. Which of these factors over here add up to 10? I'm not even going to worry about the negative. I'm just going to do add up to 10. 2 and 8 do. So that means our factors are x times x gives us our x squared, 2 and 8. This negative sign is going to go with the bigger of the two. And then a negative 8, and what gives us negative 10? Negative 2. Negative 2 and negative 8 is negative 10. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Those are our factors. Factors of 81. 1 times 81. Let's see, we also have what? 3 times, what's that going to give us? 27. Let's see, I don't think 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 9 times 9. I think that's all the factors, isn't it? I think that is. I think that's it. Which of those factors add up to 18? 9 and 9 do. So x, the two factors are 9 and 9. This sign goes with the bigger of the two. They're both the same, so they're both going to get the plus 9. So we can write it like this, or we could actually, since those are both the same, we could write it as x plus 9 squared. Either one of those would work. Okay? All right, moving on. 13. Now, our factors, our leading coefficient here is not 1, so now we got to try some different stuff here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply the first by the last, and I ignore the negative. Some people like to multiply with the negative. I just ignore it. So I'm going to go 3 times 21 is going to give me what? 62. So I want to come up with all the factors of 62 that have a difference of 2. 1 times 62 doesn't work. 2 times what? 31. No, that won't work. Let's see, that's 63. That's what we want, 63 here. So 2 times 31 is not going to work, but 3 times 21 will work. And then let's see, 4 doesn't work. 5, 6, 7 times 9 will work. And I think that's all the factors we have. But the good news is we've already found the one that we want, because 7 and 9 have a difference of 2. So We're going to do this by the old regrouping idea. So we're going to leave the 3x squared here. We're going to leave the negative 21 here. And we're going to simply just turn negative 2x into a 7x and a 9x. And it doesn't matter which one we write first. We just have to make sure that we put signs in front of this so they add up to positive 2. So this sign, this positive sign, well, whatever's in front of the x, this 2x here, that sign will always go with the bigger of the two, right? And then we say positive 9 and what gives me positive 2? So that would have to be negative 7. Okay? Once we have those grouped together, and again, it doesn't matter if the 9x is over here and the negative 7x is over there, it's going to work just fine either way. We're going to group each one of these with the sign that it already has and put a plus in between. And then we're simply going to factor out of each one of these here. So 3x squared and negative 7x, we can get an x out of both of those. So that is, sorry, let's see. I got to factor in the x out. X times 3x minus 7. And then what can we get out of both of those? We can get a 3 out of both of those. So plus 3 times 9 divided by 3 is 3x. Negative 21 over 3 is negative 7. And these two things here should always match. If for some reason they don't, then something went wrong. But since these match, officially out of this side, these two terms here, we're going to factor 3x minus 7 out of both of these. Okay, so we get a 3x minus 7 out here. Those all cancel, and we're left with x plus 3, and that is the factors of 3x squared plus 2x minus 21. Okay. Now over here on this one, I'm going to actually show you a little box a little bit different way. We're still going to multiply the first by the last. 5 times 20 is 100. Again, I'm going to ignore the negative in there. To come up with factors of 100. 1 times 100, 2 times 50, 4 times 25, 5 times 20. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doesn't work. 9, 10 times 10. I think those are all of our factors. Hopefully one of those have a difference of 48, which 2 and 50 do have a difference of 48. So what we can do instead is do this little box idea here. Okay, and we're going to always write this 5x squared is going to go in this top one here, 5x squared. Negative 20 is always going to go in that bottom one, negative 20. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write, we've got this is going to be 2x and 50x. It doesn't matter which one goes where, 2x, 50x. But we do have to know what the signs are going to be. So we know that when we add these two together, they have to equal negative 48. So that's going to have to be negative 50, and that's going to have to be positive 2x. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're just going to factor on each row and each column. So 5x and 2x have an x in common. Negative 50x and negative 20, whatever sign is in the first box of the two things you're factoring, that sign's always going to go with these factors. So they don't both have an x, but they both have a factor of 10. So we get x minus 10, or this one here, and then going this way, 5x and negative 50x, those both have a 5 and an x in common. And this is positive 2, so this can be plus. And then 2x and 20 both have a 2 in common. So that means our factors are 5x plus 2 and x minus 10. Okay? Okay. Last couple to look at, 17 and 19. Again, same idea as what we were doing before. Multiply the first by the last. 10 times 7 is 70, so I'm going to come up with the factors of 70. 1 times 70, 2 times 35, 3, 4, 5 times, what's that going to be? 10, 14. 7 times 10, and I think those are all of our factors. One of these sets should have a difference of 9. And there it is, 5 times 14. So if we are doing the little box method like we did on the last one, we're going to simply make ourselves a box here. It looks like a window pane. Right? And then this 10x squared is always going to go in the top. The first thing's always going to go in the top. The last thing's always going to go in the bottom. And then these two are 5x and 14x go in either of these boxes, and it doesn't matter which one goes where. But it does matter the signs that go in front. We know that these two have to add together to get 9. So I know that whatever this sign is in front of this middle term here, we'll always go with the bigger of the two terms. So that's a positive. And a positive 14, I have to figure out if I'm going to add or subtract 5 to get to 9. So I will definitely have to subtract 9. Okay, and now we factor. These both have a 5 and an x in common. This is plus 14x, so this is going to be positive. 14 and 7, those both have a 7 in common. These two together have a 2 and an x in common that we can factor out of both of those. And then this is a negative at the beginning. Doesn't even matter that that's negative, just matters that this is negative. This will be a negative here. 5x and 7, they don't have anything in common, so we're just going to put 1 in there if they have nothing in common. So our factors then are 2x minus 1 and 5x plus 7. Okay, we'll do this last one, number 19, by the little regrouping way, just to try something different than the window pane way. So we multiply first by last. 2 times 6 is 12. Factors of 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. One of these sets of factors should be able to add up to 7, which is going to be our 3 and our 4. So our regrouping, we're going to take 2x squared here, and the positive 6 goes here, and then we're going to write 3x and 4x in the middle. And this 3x and 4x have to add up to 7. I know that this positive sign here has to go with the bigger of the two factors here, and I say 4 and what's going to give me positive 7? Positive 3. Okay? So now that we have these figured out, we regroup them with their signs, put a plus in the middle, and now we're going to factor out of both of these. So 2x squared and 3x both have an x in common, right? So if we get rid of an x there, that's 2x. If we get rid of an x there, plus 3. And then these two here have a, let's see, it looks like just a 2 in common, so plus 2. And then that's going to be 2x plus 3. Hopefully these two things here match, which they do. So since they do, 2x plus 3 is one of our factors. And then the leftover part, x plus 2, is the other factor. Okay? All right, that's all we have for factoring review. If you have any further questions on any of this, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.